Hey everyone, this is Joseph J McAllister, and I'm out here getting ready to show you my 2018 Halloween haunt. Okay, so as you can see, the haunt this year is going to be really extensive. It's going to go all over the backyard. Now, here's the first structure right here that you're going to enter, and something really cool about it. This year I decided to make the roof really high. I kind of wanted to do just some different things I haven't done before. I wouldn't have made it higher actually, but my ladder only goes so high, so unless I want to buy a new ladder. So right now this is just basically the skeleton of the haunt that I built so far, and I'm still working on it a little bit. Still have some things to do, but I want to give you a basic idea of how these haunts are built. Now, as you can see right here, the main doorway right there is actually 7 feet high, which is a really good height. So all these buildings are basically 7 foot. This, I don't know with the top how big it is. It might be like 15 foot or something. As you can see right here, the width of all of these doors is 3 foot. And that's really important because, you know, it's not just for children, it's also for adults to go through. And people bring these really humongous like baby strollers that are just massive. You would think that they'd make these things smaller nowadays, you know, like everything, phones get smaller, watches get smaller, everything gets smaller. But I guess strollers are going the way of TVs. Like the bigger one you can get, the better or something. So they're really quite massive. So I have to make it big enough for strollers the entire way through the maze, because people will actually push their babies and their baby stroller all the way through this, like tons of people. So I gotta be prepared for it. Now, as you can see right here, like I have tons of wood piles, and I've been using the same wood for 4 years straight. Every year I have to buy a little more wood, but this year I'm able to build the entire structure with all the wood that I have and have plenty left over. I will have to buy some more wood because this year I'm going to do this bridge thing that I'll talk about in a minute. But for the most part, like all of the screws and all of the wood, like this wood, a lot of it dates back to like 4 years back when I started actually building mazes instead of just decorating. And all the screws I already have, and I might have to buy some more screws for the bridge, but like all the structure I was able to take care of with just the old screws that I already have. So far, I haven't spent a single penny. And lights and props, I won't need to spend any money. I might buy some more lights. I might buy some mechanical electronic props, you know, like some of those big, like werewolves and things and clowns that move around, to just kind of spice it up. Now, right here, I have all my fence posts. And I can make wood fences out of this stuff. It's just wood fences from past years, and I just disassemble it and pile it all in a pile. So make several wood fences, and there's support brackets right there, various sizes. These ones are for the roof actually. So these make like the apex for the roof, so that because when it rains, the water, you know, at some point during this season it's going to start raining, and the water needs to run off the building and not pool up, or it'll turn into a giant swimming pool and start leaking through, which is not good. These ones are all my 8-foot beams, and these ones right here are actually posts you put in the ground, and then those holes in the post you run rope through, and they make little rope fences, which is really good. And these little scraps right here, you'd think they're completely useless, but honestly, let me show you what I do with them. Now, right here, I've got one beam, and rather than like doubling up on the beam and having it run all the way down, you know, if I just made like all these like rectangular shapes, I save wood by using these little scraps at the top and at the bottom down there, so that basically I only have to use one beam per corner, because These beams are extremely strong, and really it's a huge waste of lumber to go along and just like double up all these beams as you go, which I've done in the past, and really it was completely unnecessary. Now, as you can see right here, these are the little support brackets. They act like sway bars, and they really make all this stuff really firm, so that it's pretty firm. It really doesn't wobble much at all. Like, some of it is just being uneven on the ground. Also, here's another use for these little scraps of wood. I just put them in, and then I drill a couple screws into there. The reason why is because I didn't really want to take and level all of this ground, and I mean, it's only a temporary Halloween display, so probably already going way too far in the first place. So so I just put these little things in to level it up to the ground and make it more stable so it doesn't rock back and forth, because as you can see, really the ground here is a big mess. Like, it's just all lumpy and this and that. It's not really flat. Like if I was going to build a barn or a storage shed or something, I'd want to lay down some cement and make it actually straight. Okay, so there's structure one, and the basics of it is like, just imagine this as a square. It's 8 foot by 8 foot and then 7 foot high, and actually 8 foot high is really too tall. It doesn't look right, so just go with 7 foot high. Honestly, I've done 8 foot before and it just looked kind of odd, so 7 foot's plenty. And then, you know, once you build one square, then you just you keep adding on to the square, and then you build the next square over, and then you build, you know, the next square. This is actually the one that I started with, and I built that direction. And then you come in and you're gonna add your little partial walls, which is like this stuff right here, basically, so that it's very maze-like. You have to walk back and forth, or, you know, there's open rooms as well, but yeah, basically you add in these things, and then the last thing you do is you're going to add in these support brackets right here and just stabilize everything with the support brackets. And once it's stable, then you can start adding your apex roof on. The last thing you're going to put on is like your black drop cloth, which you can buy for like 20 bucks a roll at Lowe's or Home Depot or Walmart, to waterproof it and create dark walls. After that, then you're going to put in all of your electrical, so you have lights all the way through it, and then you're going to start on props, and then use some spray paint to decorate the walls inside, or whatever you're going to end up doing. Alright, and here's some of that black, I think it's like 3 or 5 mil drop cloth. So it's just basically a black plastic sheets. It's a really economical way to go and put up walls on here, and then I just use a wood staple gun to put it all over the walls. Now, this right here, having a table saw, is extremely important. I'm using Skill Saw, really good model, 3310, so model 3310 apparently, and this skill saw is extremely important to doing this work. Now, that was the small structure. This is actually the big structure, the big part of the maze. So as you can see, this is just walk through all the walls as if they weren't there. So, but this is quite extensive right here, and I'll show some more videos on it. You're gonna need some quick clamps so that as you're building the walls, you can hold them up so you can screw them in, because like if you're like me, I don't have a second person to stand here and hold everything for me. Also, these are my 2-inch screws, which are mainly for the braces. bug spray in the evening. Lots of mosquitoes are coming out. Right here is a bucket of 3-inch screws. That's what you need for 90% of this to hold everything together. Now everything I do, I just put in 2 screws, or whether it's up here it's 2 screws or 2 screws. Everything is 2 3-inch screws, and I wouldn't worry about how stable it is right now. What you worry about is when you're finally done and you put in all the braces that you're going to put in. That's when you're stabilizing it. Right now it's just kind of a flimsy frame, and as I put in more of these walls and doorways and things like that, it gets stronger. But the final thing that really strengthens this is these sway bars that you put in, and you don't have to put in a lot. It very quickly, as you go, strengthens everything up and makes everything nice and sturdy. And then at that point, everything is strong. You can't put in 5 or 6 of these or 4 or whatever and expect this whole structure to get stronger. Just put in 2, because it doesn't matter how many screws you put into this thing, it's not going to be stronger until you put in the sway bars, these brackets and things. That's what's really going to strengthen it, and nothing else is going to do it. Now, as you can see right here, I've got a very unusual joint, so I had to make some creative cuts to get these odd angles to fit together. Now, this area that you're looking at right here is actually like a courtyard, and the cool thing about this is I'm going to put in a footbridge that goes up just about a foot, but it'll just be fun to walk on, and it'll go across here. So the footbridge is going to start coming out of this room, and it's going to walk up this way, and then it's going to turn, and it's going to go straight over here and come through here. And so over here, I'm thinking about doing some landscaping and putting in like a pond right here, and maybe put the water fountain over here, and or maybe a waterfall or something, and also put in some, I'm also going to put in some dripper heads and grow a bunch of, I don't know, grass or flowers or plants or something, because honestly, all those fake plants that you buy at the store are so expensive. It's so much cheaper to just grow it yourself. I've got 3 months to grow something. So yeah, actually it's odd, but it just works out to be a lot cheaper. So I'll probably make this area all tropical, and waterfalls and stuff like that, and then maybe put some tombstones and some weird lighting in to make it Halloween. But I think this is gonna be the really cool thing that I do this year, is put in bridges and weird landscaping. And this area right here is a big open room, and I was thinking I could either have a swirling kind of path going through here, a cobblestone footpath, and then put in some landscaping here, or I might just have little picket fences and then put a bunch of corn stalks on them and kind of make it a corn maze or something like that kind of section. But something landscaping should be in here that should be interesting. As you can see right here, I have little placeholders for the walls that I'm putting up to help me remember what this whole total maze is going to look like. Also, I can kind of still see some of the lines that I put down. I just drag a hoe along here and create all these lines. Before I even built all this maze, I just marked it all out with little drag marks from a hoe, so that I could physically walk the entire maze before even starting to build it and know that everything was going to work. Now, another thing you're going to need is a ladder, and also a little tote to carry just the tools that you need at that moment, like the screws and drill bits. So here's the drill bits that I'm using. Obviously one Phillips head, and the best is if you can have a back like this. Otherwise, if you have the Phillips head on the back, it unscrews a little screw inside of your drill and ruins it. so I don't like that. So I started buying these. These are much better. Plus, the drills after a while developed this problem where circular bits they can't hold on to anymore. So these hexagon bits are much better to use in the first place. So you just need like one of these, and occasionally these things break off into the wood. So if you can get a pile of both of these, like 10 of each, that would be optimum. And you're also going to need one of these and an ink pen to mark your wood. And these are what I use to remove staples from previous years out of the wood that are getting in the way. And buy about 5 of these buckets to just organize all your stuff in is really good. Also, these are 2 really good tools to have on hand. They come in handy every once in a while, but when you need them, you need them. And also when you're working, it's really good to have some music blasting out here. It really keeps you motivated. And here's the Black & Decker drill, which I think I bought at Walmart. And it's cheap, but it works really well. So, pretty good drill. As you can see, I have plenty of room for 1 or 2 more rooms right there. And I might put a couple more rooms on the front of this. And down here, this is actually going to be the end of it. But you know, I could put a ton of rooms going down this way. So I don't know. I might put a couple more on here. I don't know if I'm going to go all the way down that way, but you know, I could put on like another 6 rooms. Right here I have all my 81-inch posts, and they would be 7 foot, but the thing is that the posts don't go all the way up because they have a board sitting on top of them, and they also don't go all the way down. So it's basically 7 foot minus the width of 2 boards, so 81 inches. So those are going to be all my vertical posts. And for the floor, I'm using 8-foot posts. So everything's going to be 8 foot wide. All of these along the top that are going lengthwise are going to be just a little bit shorter. You're going to have to custom cut those, because as you can see, they're not going a full 8 foot. They're 8 foot minus the width of 2 boards, like one here and one on the other side. So all of these running across the top that are for the width are 91 inch. And of course these ones running this direction are a full 8 foot. And then 81 here, 91 up there, 8 foot along the sides. And if you have just those boards all lined up, that's what you're going to make this whole thing out of. And basically the idea is you just make a big square, and then you strengthen that square with a bunch of brackets, so that's your base, and it's going to be as strong as possible. And then you just keep building square after square after square, 8 foot at a time, onto it. And then of course you come back and strengthen it up with more brackets, but that's basically the process right there. Thanks for watching this video, and this is the beginning of the 2019 Halloween season. And I'll just let you know, the reason why I build these mazes and why I build them like I do is because over time I've realized that you can build massive mazes for fairly cheap, but if you go and you just want to build like some facades, you might build like 1, maybe 2, and find yourself like into a couple $1,000s worth of materials. It's very, very, very expensive. If you have lots of money, I would go ahead and build facades and things like that. Plus it also takes a lot of time, especially if you don't have a second person that is not just a helper but completely knows what they're doing, like another craftsman to help you. Then you could build stuff more like facades like Disneyland does and stuff like that. But if you're on a budget like me and you only have one person and there's so much time before Halloween, well, this is kind of the way to go. Another thing is I started clear at the beginning of July, so I've got 4 months until Halloween on October, at the very end of October. So the reason why is because it takes about a good 3 solid months to build all this stuff. And the last thing is that I want to, instead of racing at the last minute, I'd like to get done a month early and then go out and have all kinds of fun, doing stuff like going to other people's home haunts and checking them out and asking them, filming it and talking about how they made their home haunts and things like that, and their Halloween decorations. And also maybe go to some professional haunts and film that as well, and also have the money to do it and the time. So that's why I'm starting clear in July, and believe me, it takes a good 3 solid months. I might still be like scrambling on some stuff, but hopefully I'll have like an extra month of time and money and actually get to do some haunted house stuff that doesn't have to do with my own backyard like usual. Go out and do some really cool stuff like Calico Ghost Town, or there's an apple farm over in Glen Oaks I'd like to go to. They have some cool hayride events and stuff like that. So yeah, let's see how that works out. Probably pretty good, I guess. Hopefully. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe.